Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of the Amista podcast, First Sip, Then Sup. Today, we will be talking about FRoSTA, probably not the most famous brand in Belgium, but actually, FRoSTA is one of Europe's leading frozen food companies. We'll talk about the general story and the future of the company, and dive deeper into the digital transformation they've been undergoing. In that journey, SAP and BTP are crucial technological components. We already touched BTP a couple of times during our previous podcasts, and today we're very excited to give the word to Lucas to share some real-life experiences, which we believe are a very valuable insight for our listeners. Lucas, thanks first of all for being here all the way from Germany. Before we start, could you introduce yourself and your current role at FRoSTA in a couple of sentences?
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeroen. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Lucas. I work at FRoSTA in the north of Germany since 2020, where I was hired to participate on their digital transformation office. And there I play a role of a technical advisor, a solution architect, and I support leading and providing advisory to technical projects, especially in the area of BTP and SAP in general. I'm originally from Brazil, so there is where I was born and raised, and I started working at the SAP labs back in 2010 to 2020, so 10 years working there. And this is for sure where I started my SAP journey. And since then, it's been only SAP on my career.
All right. And was that SAP Brazil or did you...
It was SAP labs in Latin America, in Brazil. So the south of Brazil to the north of Germany.
Okay. And where did the transfer to Europe come from?
So that's a good question because most of our colleagues, or many of our colleagues there in Latin America, in Brazil, we had a lot of colleagues from Germany who were working there, and also colleagues that were from Brazil that moved to Germany or visited often, and we started hearing a lot of, differences cultural-wise. How is living in Germany look like? And the difference about living in Brazil. And Brazil is great. It has many great things. It has some political challenges and safety challenges. And it's actually what motivated me to leave my 10-year stable career with SAP and try something new in Europe.
Okay, but it was still at SAP. The transfer you made was from SAP Brazil to SAP Germany.
It was not. Then I decided to leave SAP and to apply to some things else. And I still work, obviously, on the field of SAP, but now directly at FRoSTA.
Okay. And you ended up at FRoSTA. Was it immediately the first assignment in Europe, or did you have another stop in between, let's say?
It was. So it was during Corona. So to 2020, it was exactly during Corona. Not many companies were hiring at the time. And I remember exactly the job posting. It was not only a good fit, but also a potential career success for me, right? So, and back at SAP, my description, my job description or my position was quite specific. We were supporting design thinking sessions with customers to bring innovations, and this position from FRoSTA got together my SAP background, my IT background, project management at the top, and also, for example, design thinking on top of it. So it was a really good match for me, and I remember it was very, very good, and it was quite successful. Luckily, me.
But actually, stepping away from the theoretical part only, let's say, and apply it into the business where different other aspects of business life are combined in one role. That's what was really interesting for you to make the change.
Yeah, correct.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, I think for many people listening to the podcast, also for myself, before we got in touch, FRoSTA is probably not the most famous brand in Belgium. So, yeah, could you give us some additional background on who FRoSTA is, what kind of company it is, how the future looks like?
Certainly. So, FRoSTA is a specialist in frozen food, and it was born in the north of Germany, where is still headquartered. We have over 1,800 employees and a little bit under 700 million euros in revenue, around four different factories and different offices across Europe. And our market is mainly around Europe, right? So, and one thing that it makes us very proud, because I remember back in Brazil when when I think about frozen food, I had one thinking, and when I actually got to know FRoSTA and actually eat FRoSTA's product, it made me change this completely line of thinking. And FRoSTA is able to make actually frozen food look good, tasty, and one thing that we are very proud of, which is our purity promise. So FRoSTA's products are 100% free of additives. So it's natural, clean, and we are, again, proud to bring tasty products and clean products to families across Europe.
Okay.
Hopefully soon in Belgium.
Exactly, yeah. We can confirm what you said about the taste. During our last visit in Hamburg, we had the chance to cook some of your products together. So unfortunately, we cannot buy them in Belgium yet. But at that moment, we really had the chance to find out what the taste was all about, and actually, it was a really good experience. Let's say.
I'm glad.
So let's dive a bit deeper into the digital transformation that we will be talking about today. You are, of course, one of the experts within that domain within FRoSTA. Could you take us back a couple of years to tell a bit more about the starting point, why you started, how you started, what were the first steps in this domain?
Certainly. We started back in 2019. We started a big digitalization program. It was our digital champion, FRoSTA being the digital champion. And since then, or maybe the first runner was the biggest motivation was the S/4HANA transformation, right? So the migration from ECC to S/4HANA back in 2019. And since then, it's been a lot of different digitalization initiatives, implementations, initiatives, changing the way we do things for the better, of course. And it's impressive the amount of implementations also that we have came across. So transport management, IBP for planning, PPDS also for a smaller window of planning. We have then the introduction of BTP and the whole 150 services that we have, turning BTP into a critical business in our organization. We have also different other platforms that not only as SAP related, but I can only tell you the SAP part of things was really big with Concur, SuccessFactors. Yeah.
It's a wide landscape that you
really
have.
wide, yeah.
And at that moment, it was not only, if I understand you well, it's not only what we have in ECC, bring it as is towards S4. You already took the opportunity there to optimize the way of working and the new stuff as well?
Yes, for sure. There are two approaches one can take. It's called the greenfield approach, which is basically starting over on a clean system, and a brownfield approach. And this is actually what we took. So we took a brownfield approach, which is basically using what we had in ECC and transforming this to the S/4HANA perspective. It takes a little bit longer, but the let's say the time to live, the time to go live, it's a smaller window. So there are some things that took a little bit of time to make it properly work. And
Okay.
the business partner concept is a very critical one. That is a big change within changing from ECC to S/4HANA. That took us a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, how did you experience that the collaboration between, let's say, the IT team and the people within the business? How did you approach that aspect of the transformation?
Um, Back then, we used to have something that was called digital transformers. It would be also called power users, so to say. So each department would have their own, let's say, technical person, which would be a bridge between the business. They would have the business point of view, but they will also have a certain point of technical skill set enough to translate it or help IT translating the language to the business, right? And
Okay.
this was the bridge between IT and the business.
Yeah, were those people from the IT team that for a certain period in time were part of a specific line of business, or what kind
Mostly
of
the
profiles were those?
opposite.
Yeah,
Mostly
okay.
the opposite was maybe the most technical person on that specific line of business that we would start getting more often in contact with IT and understanding a little bit more the concept of S/4HANA, what is there for that line of business, and then helping us not only filter what is even relevant and what is not, because it can be overwhelming sometimes.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was
Okay.
our way of translating this requirements
Yeah,
also.
avoiding the silo and make sure that everybody speaks the same language in this kind of project.
Exactly.
Okay, good. So yeah, that's how you started, why you started. How did you determine where to begin and how to do it? Did you do everything yourself? Did you rely on external resources already at that moment? So yeah, how did you tackle the first steps, let's say?
I think for major projects like the S/4HANA migration, we did rely on partners for sure. Um, we do have success factors partners since the beginning, since the implementation. We do have S/4HANA partners also supporting us with this. For, let's say, BTP in general, on some other SAP tools and products, we don't yet count with the partner, or we did not count with the partner, and now we are going to this concrete organization, right? So management on all of our portfolio, but it was painful not having an experienced partner sometimes.
What do you mean painful?
Yeah, especially I've been working with BTP a lot, and since 2020 BTP was exactly what I meant before, but it was a green field. So there was nothing there, and at the same time we needed to start building on top of that. And like I said, BTP has today maybe 120 different services. It can be that you're gonna focus on one specific service, and it's gonna play out okay. But then it's very important that you consider the foundation of BTP and how it organizes it and how it even works. So what is a global account? What is a sub account? What is a role and a role collection? How does that is mapped to cloud identity services? And this kind of things is something that we decided to not focus so much at first, and um, that was a mistake. I would do different if it was today, because that made me have a little bit of a rework on my first implementation, because I was not considering everything. And if I had a Mista or another, but an experienced partner to support us from the beginning, it would be for sure a time that I would save on my
Mhm.
implementation.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking when you started your study. Like, okay, I was thinking, you think of all the important things that you should think about, but that unfortunately are often forgotten. but actually you forgot them in the beginning as well. Yeah.
Or unknown,
Yeah.
right? So it simply sometimes was simply unknown because for sure we can dive deep into documentation. It's extensive documentation sometimes, multiple 100 pages. And then eventually you get the outcome. That was the case when we first went live with SAP Mobile Start. We did everything ourselves, and a colleague and myself, and it was a lot of work. But we're very proud of ourselves because we managed to do that. But not knowing exactly how BTP in general as a platform work made us make some decisions that were maybe not the most optimal. It did not influence on the mobile start usage to the business in any point, but they were not optimal thinking about the long term. So we were not considering exactly, okay, so what if, right? So what if in the future, in the next couple of years, we have this solution here? What if we have this solution there? Where are we going to put? And then how to make this more optimal long term. And this is a strategy that it really pay off if you are starting on BTP, especially to have an experienced partner or an expert to be on top of this with you. Right?
To make you aware of, think about the bigger picture and the impact that it might have. But I think it's a very common mistake, if we can call it like that. An approach is maybe a better word that many companies are applying. But I think we'll dive into the lessons learned a bit later on in the session. And you mentioned mobile start. Was that the starting point or the first case, let's say, or the reason why you wanted to start with BTP?
Exactly. So also back to 2019, we signed SuccessFactors and S/4HANA, right? And we got actually two different instances or global accounts on BTP, one with the SuccessFactors deal and the other one with S/4HANA deal. And our very first perhaps work on top of BTP was integrating SuccessFactors with HCM, so we backed with S/4HANA. And this was for master data, user master data, or employee master data, and also pay slips back to SuccessFactors so people can actually access them. And this was done by our partner, SuccessFactors partner. And the real project that we started, our team started actually hands-on, was the Mobile Start, where we were a early adopter at the time. So we were working together with SAP. SAP had not launched Mobile Start yet, and we were supporting them, implementing first, and of course providing feedback. And even so, it was very extensive. But because in the end, it's not only Mobile Start as we have today. So being able to access everything on your mobile, you need to actually consider installing and implementing the Launchpad first, which was something that we did not have yet, in order for Mobile Start to pull this information from there. So that you think about, for example, Task Center, you think about the notifications. It's really a series of configurations and implementations you need. But in the end was really, really, we're really proud of this moment, because in the end we were the first customers going live with the Mobile Start solution. So
yeah, okay, yeah, you already touched the technical background, let's say, on how to organize it and to structure it. But if we take a look at the business reasons, let's say, why was Mobile Start so important, or why specifically that domain as first step?
Our general IT strategy was, mobile first, security, cloud first, and connected anywhere. And we went from the SAP GUI and needing to work on a laptop or a desktop, but on a real physical device in the network, either in the office, or you still need a VPN to access your resources, to getting everything on the mobile, being able to approve your requisitions, being able to see how the factory is looking like, being able to report a factory down scenario to the maintenance team. Everything, you just take a picture, you create a ticket, take a picture, and it's all on your mobile phone. And a little time, before that, it would take us a lot of time to even do this. So we would probably call people, but the ticket would come, very late, because people will need to go back to their desks and
find the way to the system actually.
And now everybody can be traveling. They can work from the palm of their hands.
Okay, so if I interpret it correctly, it's really the big change that's coming from the ECC towards S4 migration, that you really facilitate the change management actually there as well, from people having to work in a new way to make it way more easy, centralized from the different devices, to make sure that it's easy to find from any type of device, and helps to move the processes faster.
And also with Mobile Start, you can now include different apps inside of it. So it's basically one big app that you can have on your phone, and then you can create different rules for different types of users with different types of apps, but everything can be achieved.
All right.
Like that.
I would say it's a real interesting first case, because it affects actually practically everybody in the organization. So the visibility of it was really large from the beginning then.
Yeah, correct. I mean, it was a big change because people were not actually using it like that. It was not a change for the better or for the worse. It's something new, completely new, right? So people can still, if they want, they can still use the SAP GUI. But of course, a lot of people would prefer using their mobile now. And over the years, along the years, now we have been implementing more and more features on top of it. So it was born, so to say, very basic for basic scenarios. Maybe only Fiori is coming from S4HANA. And then we started implementing things on top, right? So communication to different other apps from SAP or from other partners or companies. Also, Task Center came on top of it. So right now we are implementing more and more queues, so targets for Task Center. So now people can approve workflows that come not only from SuccessFactors, but S4HANA, from Concur, from our invoices systems from BTP. Any kind of workflow that comes from BTP can be also accessible there. Ariba is another example. So everything is one place to approve. It's definitely a huge time that you save, right?
One central entrance for all people that have something to do with a solution of SAP, let's say. You mentioned that there were some challenges in the beginning, of course, in the first steps of the project. Could you elaborate a bit better on them, or a bit more in detail? Like, what were those challenges actually, or what were the setbacks that you encountered?
I think the biggest setback was exactly not knowing the foundation of BTP before we start. And this was key, because it did not make us not able to go live. It was quite okay, actually, but we should have considered what comes next, right? And maybe create a structure already before we even started this Mobile Start or whatever first project would be, in order to set the correct expectations and plan the implementation in a correct way.
So that's a change that you would have made, to take a step back, let's say, and think about the bigger picture up front instead of after bringing the first project live.
It would be my advice for people who are starting now on BTP. Either take some time and really learn the platform and how it operates, or trust your partner to support you with the early steps, because this is going to be key based on your plan for the future.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it makes sense, of course, that you're very enthusiastic to start with a new technology and see what's possible. There are many things coming towards you in such a migration project, so it's probably not always the first thing to think about, but don't forget it. That's what you would actually recommend to other customers that start with the first steps in BTP.
Exactly. And one thing that BTP is very common for people to get a little bit in question or in doubt about is the way the services are charged. And a good partner who can actually support you with the good decisions of let's maybe license this product here or this service with this plan instead of that plan, because this was going to save you, I don't know, 1,000 euros a month. That's 1,000 euros a month that it keeps piling up.
Of course.
Right? So depending on if you just go freehand and start implementing everything you see in front of you, you're going to start probably not making the best decisions towards the services that we have.
You'll get stuck in the SAP financial maze with all the licenses going all kinds of directions. So,
and it really piles up.
Yeah,
right?
That's true. Yeah. It's we know SAP. If they have the chance to increase the licenses, they probably do it. So that's why it's also important to keep track of what you are doing and look ahead to structure it in the right way to also maintain control of the budget that you need with BTP. If we talk about impact for other people within the business of the organization, let's say, is it tangible today what the impact of the transformation is, or how is the life of people in the organization better now making use of BTP? Is it?
Yeah, so it's not only about BTP, I would say, but in general, for projects and new initiatives that we have, we would use our project management tool. And we would have, of course, for every project and for every project we propose, we would have a set of success criterias and a return of investment and different other KPIs that would go to a committee in order to approve this project or not, because this committee is going to then match all this information or take this information and actually match with the strategy and the business reality and the need of the business, right? So this would be the number one, I think, way how we would measure the successes. But BTP specifically, it follows the same guidelines. So it's
a general approach in the company.
Exactly. It's sometimes even not visible to users. Sometimes it's really a technical change, but that brings a lot of impact. Example is also back to the way the services work, and then how can you migrate some services from one sub account to the other. It really brings you a lot of savings in the end. For the business perspective, that would be transparent, but what you maybe spent, 1,000 that you spent on bringing these sub accounts together and coupling these services together is going to make you save 1,000 every new month ahead. So it's a big change in the end, right? So
it's not visible or not tangible for the people in the business, but from IT perspective, it's important to have that under control and make sure that you have also efficiency gains when it comes to that level, being technical up to date, let's say, that everything is ready for the future, but in the same time do it as cost efficient as possible.
We're talking about 1,000 here, 1,000 there, but sometimes it's not 1,000. Sometimes it's much more. And then it really becomes
and even
visible.
1,000 for some companies it's nothing. For others it's
exactly.
it's valuable money that needs to be under control, of course. All right, so it's clear that you already had quite some success with the usage of BTP in the organization. If we put the thermometer in it, let's say, at this moment, what's the magnitude of BTP, or how far did it already spread its tentacles within the organization, the current status, let's say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, since these two projects in 2019, we have been expanding over the years. At least for the past 2 or 3 years, we really started adding a lot of business critical activity on top of BTP. It has been going on very, very well. We have now a division, kind of, or an organization that goes on a set of sub accounts for applications, where we have the business critical applications and the services such as Build, such as Mobile Start, Joule, or applications that we create for example, the investment request.
Mm-hmm.
We have a second set of sub accounts for integrations. That is where we're going to have, for example, API management or cloud integration with somewhere around 200 different points of integrations, no matter if iFlows or API endpoints to protect these iFlows, or even to extract data safely from S4HANA. We have a third one which holds a HANA database, so all that is related to data. So it holds a HANA database, it holds DataSphere, SAC, etc. And we have the fourth one, which holds our administrative services. So this integration with cloud identity services, cloud transport management, so everything that is single sign-on, for example, everything that is administrative stays there. And we have currently, I would say, a big number of business critical applications for product development, for, like I said, DataSphere. It's a big player for our data modeling to display that later. Joule is coming, right? So little by little, we are making Joule able to support the business, because Joule is great, the whole idea, the whole concept, but it has some things that are not as sometimes we hear, and especially from our case, from our perspective, as well as I can say from different other customers, there is a lot of work behind the scenes that need to be done to implement Joule. So the real implementation may be 2 clicks, but you really need a big foundation below it to support, and this is what we are doing right now. So it's
yeah, and it's not all within your hands. You're a bit reliant on what SAP is doing and how Joule is evolving. So that's, I think, for many companies still a bit of a question mark now. What can we expect in the coming 12 to 24 months when it comes to capabilities of Joule, for example?
And this is exactly the same with us. So we are working on 2 different streams maybe for the future. That is, one is AI, because we cannot get out of this. It's already there, right? But although Joule is perhaps not perfect, we want to have our foundation set up and being able to start using Joule when the time comes.
Yeah, but if it's not there, it's not a disaster. You have your business running. It's a stable landscape.
And sometimes we can get some usage out of it. Maybe it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be helpful. And on the other hand, we want to organize better what we already have, right? And focus on what we already have. So here we are, we have the last year an adoption of SAP Cloud ALM, also with Amista. And the whole idea here is that we have a big overview about our SAP landscape, monitoring with alerts, all the integrations, all the automatizations that we have. And at the same time, this user provisioning to also support Joule, support Task Center. So we have a big user provisioning scenario to support us not only with less manual effort to create and manage users, but also to support us with compliance checking. So for, let's say, some user leaves FRoSTA, we don't need to do anything other than, lock the user or terminate the user in SuccessFactors.
Centrally managed.
And then it's all centrally managed, and all the target systems are going to pick this information. For compliance, this is very important.
Okay. Yeah, we're approaching the end of the episode today. Yeah, you already mentioned AI and Joule. That's on the horizon, let's say. anything else that you would like to mention that's critical or key in the future roadmap for FRoSTA? What are the main objectives, let's say?
I think more and more we're going to start working towards this organization. And here I also, for the future, think about keep the clean core activities, something that we already started, but it's maybe a long-term ongoing activity to bring the custom code that we have in S4HANA to BTP, and perhaps cleaning S4HANA. That's the target, at least. And start using BTP more for holding business critical applications and not only services. Something that we are still to begin.
Yeah. All right. Doesn't sound like a small project, so also
Not
that
at
will
all.
ask for a lot of analysis and right choices to make.
I hope to have a Mr. Support with that.
Always there to help you out, Lucas. Maybe a nice one to finalize this. If you look back at the last years, let's say, what is the thing that you're most proud of, let's say, that you realized, or that you're happy that you succeed to realize?
Perhaps the thing that I'm proud the most is seeing how much we accomplished over these years in this whole program. It's impressive that every end of the year we look back and see, wow, look at how much have we done, and then keep summing this for the last 6 years. So it's really impressive how much have we accomplished, not only implementing systems or solutions, but also bringing new value or much more value to our business, and especially with sometimes not infinite resources, right? We have also limited resources as much as any other company, and seeing also our solutions out there, and seeing SAP also commenting with and talking to other customers, and they seeing, wow, that's really great. It really motivates me to keep going forward. So kudos to the people. I think the people was the main driver here. The good leadership, strong leadership towards the innovation, and the good people to support this, the bright people that we have there. I'm very proud of everyone.
That's true. That's a nice initiative as well. With, how do you call it? Marie and Gina, they are like, what's the official term of their job?
I also don't know.
Or the internship program that's the trainee program. I think you have it's a good way to attract young talent. Actually, we also were able to see their contributions in the projects we did.
Absolutely,
so, it's a good initiative.
And not only them, but we have some very bright minds. That is really nice to see everybody working together and finding solutions that easy.
Perfect. All right, that's it for today. Many thanks, Lucas, for being here, for telling everything about the FRoSTA journey from the last years and your personal experiences. If we can conclude this episode, I think we can say it's important to take a step back, not only dive into it head first, but take the time to investigate the bigger picture a bit before you start, and make sure that you know exactly what's happening. Do it yourself, be supported by a valuable partner, and from there on make the right decisions to move forward. So thanks to all the listeners for being here today, and we're happy to talk to you again in the next episode of First Sip, then SAP.